ranking the modern era units of Civilization 5. You know the drill. We don't rank naval units because I've already done a tier list on them. Let's go. The AA gun, or anti-aircraft gun, is a modern era unit that basically does what it says it does. It shoots down air units. It has a 100. It has an interception of 100 and a 150% bonus versus aircraft and helicopters. So you basically need these if you want to protect your ground army from air forces. So I'm going to put it in A tier. It's one of those units that you really need to fight competitively. The Foreign Legion. The Foreign Legion is a very interesting unit. It replaces the Great War Infantry, except it doesn't replace it. It supplements it. You can get it by a tier 2 tenet from the freedom ideology, which gives you 6 of these for free, without any maintenance, which is extremely nice. So, but it's not really a great it's not really exceptional. It receives a 20% combat bonus when not in your own territory, which is nice. Most of the time you want to be fighting wars outside of your territory anyway, but but it does have slightly weaker combat strength than the infantry, so than the Great War Infantry. So I'm going to put it in C tier. The Great War Bomber. The Great War Bomber is another very interesting unit. It's basically just an earlier version of the bomber, but unlike some later units, it usually struggles to deal significant damage. Usually it gets damage itself more than enemies, but in the time it is available, there are no anti-aircraft guns, and the only option to counter it are triplanes. So as long as you can take down or suppress the opponent's triplanes, you can freely harass the enemy. Yes, you will have to heal your Great War Bombers, but you can use it to take down priority targets. If you have enough of them, you can just kill one unit per turn, and they won't be able to do anything about it. So I think that's an S tier, no, B tier. Great War Infantry. I'm going to put it in D tier. It's basically just the Foreign Legion, except it doesn't get the bonus in when you are not in your own territory. It's just an average unit of the era, available to everyone. So that the infantry is interesting. It replaces the Great War Infantry. Normally this doesn't happen with two units of the same type in the same era, but because the infantry is just straight up superior to the Great War Infantry, I'm going to put it in B tier. The Landship. The Landship is another very interesting unit. It is the upgrade from cavalry, and it has the advantage that all kinds of anti-mounted promotions or abilities, like the ones used by lancers, for example, the main counter to cavalry in the era before this, they don't work. They have been replaced by anti-armor abilities, but those anti-armor abilities aren't really available as of yet until you get to the anti-tank gun. So it's able to it's really effective against ranged units and especially artillery, but it's also just a good maneuver warfare unit. So I'm going to put it in S tier. Actually, I'm going to put it in A tier and the anti-aircraft gun in S tier, because I just believe you need anti-aircraft guns. The machine gun. The machine gun is, I think, a B tier. it's a good support unit. You put it on the front lines, you shoot enemy infantry with it, and they can also hold its own. It can also hold its own against infantry charges, which is really nice because it has one range, so you won't be able to protect it from. So you won't be able to protect it. It's B tier, but with some civilizations can really make more use of them than others. For example, if you have China and you have the Chukonu, and you upgrade that to the machine gun, then you suddenly have a machine gun that's gonna attack twice in turn. Or if you have Britain, then you upgrade the longbowman into a machine gun, then you suddenly have a machine gun that has the same range as the crossbowman from the earlier eras. So it's not a bad unit, but it's also not exceptional. The Praquinha, or however you're supposed to pronounce this, is the Brazilian special unit. It's basically just an infantry, except you earn points towards a golden age for each enemy you destroy. So I think it's an A tier, not because it's necessarily that good, just because it's a better infantry. And then the triplane. The triplane, I'm going to put it in C tier because yes, it's the only unit that can reasonably counter bombers in this era, but it's a counter unit. A triplane is only useful if your opponent has bombers and or the opponent has fighters and you want to air sweep those fighters or you want to destroy those bombers. So the Great War, without great war bombers on either side, triplanes really aren't that useful. Now, you might have noticed that I skipped placing any units in the F tier in this era. That's primarily because, unlike previous eras, there aren't really any bad units in the modern era. If you ask me, it's all units here. They have a purpose and they work. I think all of these units have a job, and every single one of them can be useful. One is just a little bit more useful than others. So, if you want to leave a like or comment, go right ahead. If you agree, if you don't agree, tell me in the comments. And goodbye.